Stop holding lavish wedding ceremonies in foreign countries. Host the weddings on Indian soil so that the money you spend stays back in the country. The Indian PM recently made this appeal in a radio broadcast. But the outflow of money through weddings abroad is just a drop in the ocean. Perhaps not even that. Even if you open your eyes and look around, an unprecedented amount of money is leaving the Indian economy every single second as you are watching this report. It's happening at an unprecedented speed, on an unprecedented scale. Thank you for tuning in. This is Ratna. You are watching Empire Diaries. This report will take you where you have perhaps never been before, from where you will get a bird's eye view of history's single biggest economic loot of a nation, a loot far bigger than what the East India Company stole from us. Try to recall what we learned in school about British colonialism. We learned that the East India Company ruthlessly stole thousands of crores of rupees from Indian subcontinent. Britain became rich while Indians were impoverished. The same loot was carried out by 6 other European East India companies, such as the Portuguese, Dutch, and French. Then in 1947, the slate was wiped clean, the invaders left, and foreign colonialism ended. Sadly, this history is miles away from the truth. The actual truth is this: during British colonialism, 7 European companies and later the monarchy looted us. Today, more than 17,000 foreign companies, just like East India companies, are sucking money out of the Indian economy and walking away. Today's financial drain from Bharat is more than twice of what British-era invaders did to us. Let's compare the economic loot between then and now. During British rule, money worth 8% of GDP was transferred out of Bharat. That was a lot of money. Indian economist Utsa Patnaik discovered that British invaders stole $45 trillion from Indians. Recently, a team of Indian researchers investigated and found something far more shocking. Right now, foreign players are moving money out of Bharat worth 17% of the country's GDP. That is more than twice of what the British invaders were pumping out of the country. The researchers calculated that Bharat is now leaking out money to wealthy countries at the rate of $500 billion every year. I repeat, $500 billion every year. The annual quantity of financial drain started going up and up since the 1990s. And peaked after the year 2000. Between 1947 and 1991, the money outflow was lower and slower. Now, this may sound like a conspiracy theory to some of you. That is simply because no one around us is talking about this truth. But someone who has talked about it, someone from the top US government circles. He was part of an undercover team that went to South Asian and South American countries. Why? To bully those governments into changing their economic policies, so that the West can benefit from them and loot them. I'm talking about John Perkins, an economic hitman hired by the US government. So what is the job of an economic hitman? According to Perkins, they go to various countries, meet top government officials and order them to take expensive loans. First, they try doing it amicably. If a government resists, then they force it. Once a government is forced to take loans from outside, US companies then go to these countries. Then over there, they draw the same money out as loan. They do business over there, dictate terms, control the market, and take all the profit out as well. So taxpayer money goes to the targeted countries as loans and ends up in the pockets of US companies. If a government doesn't comply, it faces dire consequences. How? In the form of military coups and assassinations. The CIA and NSA worked together in this blackmail mission. So this is the book, The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It reads how America really took over the world. Every Indian must read this book. It's written by John Perkins.
The drive of empire builders to dominate their world has gone on for thousands of years. But it took a new turn in the 1970s when I was an economic hitman. The war in Vietnam, the debacle of Vietnam, pretty much proved that this could no longer be done through military forces. And so the idea was to dominate economically. And my job was to identify countries with resources our corporations wanted, like oil or minerals, other resources, and then to arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sister organizations. The money had to go to our own corporations to build big infrastructure projects in that country, like electric power systems and industrial parks, things that benefited a few wealthy families in those countries, as well as our own corporations that made big profits. But it put the countries into deep debt, and then we basically owned them. They became part of our empire. We could dictate to them at what prices they would sell the resources that our corporations wanted. We could tell them to vote with us at the United Nations against Cuba or something else, and let us build a military base on their soil.
So I hope the picture is clear for you. Our country is not an exception. The money outflow is happening right under your nose. The numbers are there for everyone to see. You just need to open your eyes and see it happening. But nobody is telling you the current financial loot that is 2 times bigger than the earlier one. It's not a big secret. We are just walking around with our eyes closed. Let's come back to these 17,000 foreign companies sucking money out of the country. Unlike European invaders from the past, most of the foreign companies are from all over the world. They're popular multinational corporations. They have headquarters in North America, Europe, Asia, and Oceania. From America to China, they have flocked to this country to make money from the lucrative Indian marketplace. Which countries are the MNCs from mostly? US, China, Singapore, UK, Canada, Germany, France, Switzerland, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Belgium, Australia, and a few more. About 3,000 of these MNCs are operating here directly, and over 14,000 of them are doing business here through subsidiaries and partnerships. Also, thousands of other companies are here with an undercover presence. We don't even know who they are. They operate through domestic businesses, trusts, think tanks, and NGOs. So talking about the economic drain due to lavish weddings abroad is just a drop in the ocean. It's like clearing the floodwater with a jug. So how is this huge financial drain taking place? This is how it works. These 17,000 corporations in the country are constantly earning profits. They are then transferring a large chunk of the profits to bank accounts and stakeholders in their home countries. Next, those banks and recipients in the home countries are reinvesting the money transferred from the country into their own economies. So the home countries of these 17,000 companies are flush with cash coming in from our country and are becoming richer and richer. In contrast, our country is becoming poorer and poorer because it is constantly leaking enormous sums of money to these countries. This wealth transfer is happening now as I'm presenting this data to you. In simple words, Indians are financing the wealth and prosperity of the rich countries. We are allowing our money to be used to keep countries like the US, China, Germany affluent. Everybody is wondering what's going on. Why is India so poor? We are not a poor country. The Indian economy is flush with financial wealth, but most of the money is simply being drained out. The question is, why don't Indians recognize this national catastrophe? We can see it very clearly, but we have been conditioned to think it's normal. We have been groomed to think there is nothing wrong with it. Just close your eyes and think about the top 10, 15 foreign brands that Indians love. Think about the favorite foreign branded cars on the Indian roads. Think about 2 most popular cola drinks. Think about Swiss watches and chocolates, Chinese and Korean mobile phones, Japanese cameras, American fast food chains, European fashion wear, German machines. Think about crude oil from the Gulf, social media apps from Silicon Valley, Russian fighter jets, and Hollywood movies. Think about the national outbreak of shopping malls. They are exploding with flashy brands. Brands owned by these foreign companies. The overseas players are omnipresent in the lives of every Indian, especially those living in the cities. Just like the East India Company back then, they have easy access to our wallets. Every single time we buy something from these foreign companies, we are handing money from the Indian economy to their hands. And they are collecting it, converting it into their native currency, and sending it home. Discouraging foreign weddings is okay, but there is plenty more work to be done to stop the Indian economy from being plundered. The bigger economic drain needs to be stopped, and stopped at once, because it's getting too late for that. The national economy needs to be protected just like soldiers protect our borders. The first batch of European colonizers left us in 1947. Have you ever thought why they were here? Yes, you know it. To loot our rich financial resources. And why they are here now, especially since the 1990s. Do you think they are on a mission to serve the Indian public, make your life easy? Come on. They have the same old devilish project to squeeze wealth out of the economy. So far, they have succeeded in their plan, irrespective of whoever is in power. The colonizers are here in new avatars, from new corners of the world, as stylish brands, as high-tech MNCs, as modern agents like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Streets, and in new shapes, sizes, and forms. So talking about only marriages abroad is not going to solve the problem. Nation building starts with stopping the overall plunder and rebuilding our own industries. It's about keeping the farming sector alive. It's keeping the economy into our own hand. It's about defending the economy like defending the border. Flying the flag and singing the national anthem is not enough. Thanks for watching.
Haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Subscribe now. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we publish a report. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. WhatsApp get updates to 98210 for news and analysis you are not told. Visit our website empirediaries.com for more in-depth articles, columns and reports. Stay informed, stay awake.